A very good afternoon, everybody. We again warmly welcome Dr. Kalyani Vallath today for the second day of our ongoing NetSet guidance lecture series. And now I request students to carry on with the welcome, and then we will invite Madam to start with the lecture.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. So, yesterday we had an amazing session with ma'am regarding the Indian knowledge system, and today we have the second session with her. And I am so glad that she is here among us to teach us and even guide us for our further preparations. So, let's now give it to ma'am and let her start her today's session. So, welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm very glad to be back here. Like I had promised you yesterday, I will talk about a few questions. We will discuss a few questions based on English in India first, and then we will go on to talk about uh, graphic narratives and disability narratives. Sir, can you all see the screen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so thank you everyone once again. Let us do a recap of English in India. Okay, uh, chronologically arranged. This is a PYQ. I have given 4 PYQs from NET. Chronologically arrange the following works according to the year of publication. Now, when you suddenly see like this in the exam hall, you will be shocked because, oh my God, I don't remember any of these. How will I do this? Like that, you might think. So, the trick is to study at least major years of major works. Because, for example, if here you know Gauri Vishwanathan or Meenakshi Mukherjee, both are very famous, then you will be able to remember the rest also. Guess the rest also. Right. So I'm not expecting you to know this now, but I will tell you the answer. Gauri Vishwanathan's Masks of Conquest. It's a very important work. It came in 1989. Meenakshi Mukherjee's The Twice Born Fiction. Meenakshi Mukherjee is the professor critic who wrote Twice Born Fiction about Indian literature in English. G.N. Devi, very major folklorist and critic, he wrote After Amnesia. M.K. Naik is also a very important figure. His history of Indian English literature is very important. History of Indian English literature by M.K. Naik is like a textbook for us for NET and SET, 1982. So at least the decade you remember, Vishwanathan's Masks of Conquest is 89. Okay, 89. Same year, same decade is M.K. Naik's History of English Literature, Indian English Literature. Harish Trivedi wrote Colonial Transactions. That is from 1995. So these 5 they asked. Answer is BDACE. At least now, please remember to look up Braj B. Kachru, like that, very major theorists. Yesterday we talked about Rita Kothari, Hinglish, Baljinder Ke Mahal, Prabal Das Gupta. These are all very major writers they might ask about. Next question. Which of these, this is also a previous year question, 2024, I think. Which of these did Macaulay's 1835 Minutes on Education want to create? Easy. Only thing, there are big options, and in the exam hall you will feel like, oh, I can't read all this, it's too much. Learn to read very fast. Okay? A class of people Eurasian by blood, by European in taste, that is wrong. A class of people Indian by blood but English by taste may be correct. A class of people Indian by blood but multinational in identity, that is wrong. A class of people European by blood but Oriental in taste, that is also wrong. So this is actually very easy. If you read fast in the exam hall, you'll be able to get it. Without any stress, you should read. Answer is B. Macaulay's Minute wanted to create a class of people Indian by blood and color but English by taste. Yesterday, I had told you that Anglo-Indian literature came into being. So, who is the writer of a sketch of Anglo-Indian literature? Is it M.K. Naik, Shyamala Narayan, Edward Fairleigh Orton, or K.R. Srinivasa Iyengar? It is Edward Fairleigh Orton who wrote a sketch of Anglo-Indian literature. Anglo-Indians are people born of British fathers and Indian mothers usually. The Kothari Commission suggested which of the following? There will be big sentences like this. Don't get worried. In one reading, you should eliminate the wrong ones. Then it will become easier. That English must be used as a link language. This is a little tricky to translate. Is it a link language? That English must be studied as a library language with the aim of getting the knowledge of science and technology. Did the English want us to learn English? Did the British people want us to learn English because English is a link language between them and us? Or is it because they wanted us to read their books? Or is it because research in India should be done only in English? Or is it because a teacher at a university must know how to speak? Obviously, if you think with a clear head, you will know it is B. B is the answer. He wants us to read they want us, Kothari Commission wants us to read our English books with the aim of getting the knowledge of science and technology, commerce and trade, isn't it? Okay. So you got to know what kind of questions are asked. I'm not going too much into English in India. I'm going into graphic narratives. What are graphic narratives? Nowadays, all of us read and see books like these. A graphic narrative tells a story using both images and text. Images will be there, text will also be there. It includes graphic novels, comics, memoirs, and illustrated narratives. Words and visuals work symbiotically, not with images merely illustrating the text. Words and visuals are both working together symbiotically. The core devices are, how do they make graphic novels? With panels. The panels are important. The gutters are important. Gutters, each is a panel. This is a panel. This is a panel. The gutters are important. The style is important. And it requires dual literacy. We should know how to read pictures, the visual language, as well as the verbal language or written language. We should have dual literacy. Clear? Now, history of graphic narratives. Graphic narratives predate 20th century comics, drawing on older visual and verbal traditions. We all thought that graphic narratives came recently, but we are wrong. Medieval period graphic narratives are there in Japan, in India, Patachitra in West Bengal, Patachitra, temple murals. These are all sequential imagery that tell stories. In the 20th century, graphic novels developed even more. Graphic novels developed even more in the 20th century. They evolved from pulp comics, newspaper comic strips, and they became very sophisticated. Graphic novels are not children's stories. They are very high intellectual, social, political narratives. Late 20th century landmarks are there. Art Spiegelman's Mouse, it won Pulitzer Prize. Alison Bechdel's Fun Home. These two are very major works. These works, what did they do? They repositioned the genre. Before, comic books and all were children's literature. Nobody took them seriously. But now it is considered serious literary and academic discourse, elevated from low culture. Graphic narratives became a central mode for narrating history, trauma, and identity. Graphic narratives are a central mode for narrating history, trauma, and also identity. Okay, question time. Which graphic novel explores how Holocaust survivors deal with psychological trauma? Which graphic novel explores how Holocaust survivors, which novel among these is set amongst Holocaust survivors? Is it Art Spiegelman's Mouse, 1986, or Alison Bechdel's Fun Home? The answer is A, Art Spiegelman's Mouse. M-A-U-S. Alison Bechdel's Fun Home is about the story of her growing up, her coming of age. It is about her coming of age. Alice Art Spiegelman's Mouse won Pulitzer Prize. American literature. Okay, theoretical frameworks. Now there are many people who wrote theories of visual culture. There are theoretical frameworks for visual culture, graphic novels, narratology, etc. I have given some useful names here which you may look up later also. Scott McCloud, visual grammar. Roland Barthes, semiotics and image text relations. You know that Roland Barthes talked a lot about semiotics. What is semiotics? Semiotics is the science of signs, S-I-G-N-S, signs. And, visual grammar means how the colors, the form, the presentation on the page, it creates meanings. Image text relations. Then there is Gerard Jennett. Gerard Jennett is narratologist. It is about narratology, how narratives are conveying meanings. Then there is Marianne Hirsch. Have you heard of E.D. Hirsch? E.D. Hirsch is a hermeneutics philosopher. Hermeneutics, reader response criticism, hermeneutics. This is another Hirsch. Marianne Hirsch. She talked about post memory. When you narrate trauma, history, what is post memory? Kress and Van Leeuwen talked about multimodality, visual grammar. These are other works by theorists. Multimodality, that is, how do you look at different modes of meaning, conveying meaning? If you look these up, you will quickly understand. However, let me ask you a question. Guess karo, theek hai? Dash describes the relationship that the generation after bears to the personal, collective, and cultural trauma of those who came before. So imagine two generations. One is the generation before, then the generation after. The generation after is bearing a relationship to the generation that came before. Which theory would talk about it? Is it Roland Barthes' semiotics or Marianne Hirsch's post-memory? Those who are doing research can also look into it. Those who are doing research can also look into it. Which is the answer? It is Marianne Hirsch's post-memory. Marianne Hirsch's post-memory. Okay. Then, next, Alison Bechdel, we already know. It's about her coming up. What is so special about graphic novels? What is special about graphic novels? Graphic novels can be studied at the intersection of literary studies. You can see them challenging traditional boundaries, literary studies, visual culture, narratology, all come together. They challenge traditional boundaries and they bridge the gap between high art and low art. They bridge the gap between high art and low art. Now, there is a lot of memory, trauma, history, identity, etc. that is discussed through this. As you know, Art Spiegelman's Mouse talks about Holocaust. There is another work, Marjane Satrapi. She is the author of Persepolis. Marjane Satrapi, you must have heard of it. Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. Now let me ask you something. What historical event, Marjane is talking about her growing up in the Middle East. What historical event immediately precedes the start of Persepolis? What is happening at the beginning of Persepolis? Do you know? That changes Marjane's experiences. Is it the Iran-Iraq war or is it Iranian revolution? Both are happening in Iran. This is set in Iran. Is it the Iran-Iraq war or is it the Iranian revolution? It is the Iranian Revolution. That is about the beginning of the novel. At about the beginning of the novel, we come across the Iranian Revolution. Okay, very good. Marjane is sent by her parents after that to Australia. Why? To continue her education and for her own safety after the revolution. She has to be safe, so she is sent away. Okay. How are the graphic novels different from other novels? As you know, this is a fusion of images and words. Imagery is there, actual pictures are there. The meaning is distributed between what you read and what you see. And there is a visual narratology to it. That is why. There is a politics in graphic novel. There is a whole theory behind it. In our net classes, we will go into more depth. But today, we are just having an overview. As you know, many graphic novels are about war, genocide, trauma, reimagining nationhood, gender and race, etc. Many of these novels we already talked about. Mouse, we know Art Spiegelman, Persepolis, Fun Home. Okay. Now, which graphic novel series is written by Herge? This is a question they asked in net. This is a question they asked in net. Herge. Who is the author of this? What is the book by Herge, this man? It is Tintin, The Adventures of Tintin. The Adventures of Tintin. Do you know who is the author of The Sandman? It is a very major figure. It is Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman wrote Sandman. Neil Gaiman's very famous, internationally famous graphic novel series is The Sandman. I have given a long list here. Those who want can take a screenshot or photograph, screenshot from YouTube. Art Spiegelman wrote Mouse, as you know. Marjane Satrapi, all these you should look up. We should have a research-based approach in net and set. Okay? Not mugging up. We should have a research-based approach. What do you mean by research-based approach? It means that we are all reading on our own, researching, learning by ourselves. Okay. Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, they wrote Watchmen. Alan Moore and David Lloyd wrote the very famous V for Vendetta. Very famous, they might ask you about it. V for Vendetta. Frank Miller wrote The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller. Okay. Some of these you will have to mug up because it is not easy to remember all this. Frank Miller. There is also Neil Gaiman, as I already told you, who wrote The Sandman. Neil Gaiman is a very important presence in postmodern American literature. I am looking at the Encyclopaedia of American Literature, where there are sections given to these writers. Right. Neil Gaiman is the author of Sandman. Then there is Chris Ware, Harvey Pecker, other writers. In US, graphic novels involved superheroes, but there are also other categories. In Europe, bande dessinée, that means not a very great hero, that kind of a person. Japan has manga as the mainstream form. Latin America employed political rebellion and resistance. As all of you know, in India also there are traditions in graphic novels. For example, we have the Amar Chitra Katha tradition. I grew up on Amar Chitra Kathas. More than history books, I knew history from Amar Chitra Kathas. There are some key scholars. I already mentioned Scott McCloud. He wrote Understanding Comics. Scott McCloud wrote a very interesting book, Understanding Comics. Hilary Shute wrote Graphic Women, Disaster Drawn, where she talks about trauma, gender, history. It's a more higher kind of work. Charles Hatfield wrote Alternative Comics. Some of these books will be useful when you write research papers, etc. In net and set also, they might ask. Jared Gardner, I have only given the very major names. Frederick Louis Aldama. These are all very major names in graphic novel studies or comic studies. Now, in India, we have graphic novelists. Don't you know? In India, we have Arijit Sen, the very famous artist from West Bengal. He's a graphic designer and artist, and he made a lot of public artworks. You know, graffiti and all are public art, as you know. Arijit Sen made public art. His River of Stories, 1994, is very important. Why? Because it is considered India's first graphic novel. And listen, everybody, this was published by the famous publisher Kalpavriksha. River of Stories by Arijit Sen was published by Kalpavriksha. Corridor is a novel about a tea vendor. A tea vendor is selling tea. And his life is what Sarnath Banerjee talked about in Corridor. He has written another graphic novel, All Quiet in Vikaspuri. All Quiet on the Front. There is a very famous war novel based on which he has written All Quiet in Vikaspuri. Sarnath Banerjee, All Quiet on the Western Front. Sarnath Banerjee also wrote The Barn Owl's Wondrous Capers. The Barn Owl's Wondrous Capers. You might all know about Amrita Patil. Amrita Patil and Devadatta Patnaik. They together wrote Aranyaka. Amrita Patil herself wrote Kari. Kari is the story of lesbian love. Amrita Patil wrote Kari. And also Adi Parva, churning of the ocean. Sauptik, blood and flowers. These are all based on myth. Devadatta Patnaik is also a very important figure associated. Feminist, ecological, philosophical reinterpretations of myth. That is what Amrita Patil has written. Vishwa Jyoti Ghosh wrote Delhi Calm, where he is writing about Delhi, the city of Delhi. That is what he is writing about. Okay. Now, do you remember? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you remember who is the author of River of Stories, published by Kalpavriksha, 1994? It is Arijit Sen. Arijit Sen. Okay. Aranyaka, which explores nature versus Upanishadic thoughts. Who is the author? Amrita Patil and Devadatta Patnaik. Aranyaka. Okay. Now, Appupan or George Martin, he is called Appupan in Malayalam. Appupan means grandfather. Moonward, Legends of Hala Hala. This is all very famous now. Moonward, Legends of Hala Hala, Aspirus, The Snake and the Lotus. These are very major graphic narratives of Appupan. Sri Vidya Nadarajan and S. Anand. Sri Vidya Nadarajan and S. Anand. What did they write? Bhimayana. Like Ramayana, Bhimayana. Experiences of untouchability. So a lot of graphic novels are about the marginal people. Nina Sabnani, Munnu, a boy from Kashmir, and Mukand and Riaz. These are all about Kashmir and partition and all that. Which graphic novel tells a Homeric tale of a man's journey to the center of the earth in search of the mystical river called Saraswati? Do you know? It is All Quiet in Vikaspuri by Sarnath Banerjee. All Quiet in Vikaspuri by Sarnath Banerjee. Okay. Sarnath Banerjee also wrote Corridor, the life of a tea vendor. Now, these are some of the major graphic novels of India pioneering. There are many more. For example, do you know who wrote Kashmir Pending? Kashmir Pending. It is by Nasir Ahmed and Saurabh Singh. Okay, Kashmir Pending is by Nasir Ahmed and Saurabh Singh. So you should check them out and read them yourself. It is Amazing to read a graphic novel. Many contemporary novels also have graphic novel versions. Now, disability narratives. A disability narrative is a form of storytelling that foregrounds the lived experience of disability. Some people are disabled because of mental disability or physical disability or chronic illness, or because of neurodivergence. That is a very common word now. Neurodivergent. Non-disabled people are called neurotypical. Non-disabled people are called neurotypical. Disabled people are called, for example, ADHD is a condition seen in children. ADHD, that is neurodivergence. So, works of disabled writers or disability narratives challenge normative assumptions about embodiment. Normal assumptions about body, about independence, about productivity, success, all these are questioned by disability narratives. Disabled people are not below non-disabled people. Disabled people are only different from us. They have a different set of skills, not the same as other people. They may take literary, visual, or hybrid forms. Disability narratives can be in literature. It can be visual, paintings and all. It can be hybrid forms. It can be memoirs, graphic novels, performance, anything it can be. Important theorists of disability studies include Leonard J. Davis. He wrote the famous book Enforcing Normalcy. Leonard J. Davis. Rosemary Garland Thompson. These are very famous theorists. Rosemary Garland Thompson wrote Staring How We Look. Who wrote about gaze? Gaze, gaze. It was Laura Mulvey who talked about it. Rosemary Garland Thompson wrote Staring. Mitchell and Snyder, narrative prosthesis, that is the work, disability as a narrative device. Alison Kaffer, she talked about intersectional disability futures. Intersectional means disability is not the only reason they are ostracized in society. It may be because of caste, religion, and many other things, sexuality. Okay. Do you think disability narratives matter? Do you think they should be studied in schools and colleges? Of course, yes. Because disability narratives challenge the mainstream idea of normalcy. They challenge the mainstream idea of able-bodiedness. Disability narratives challenge what is considered normal, what is considered able-bodied. They offer counter narratives to medical charity models of disability, etc. Medical model, this is a person who is sick. Let us treat him. That kind of attitude is there in medical model of disability. Okay, trying to treat it and make them normal, which is wrong. And then charity model, oh, he is disabled, poor guy or poor girl, let me give money, let me give charity, let me give help. That is also negative. That is also not good. We should treat disabled people as equal to us. Only thing they are different. Like black people, brown people, white people, they are all the same. Equals, but they are different. Your culture is different from mine. My lifestyle is different from yours. That doesn't make me inferior or superior. Like that, disabled people are also neither inferior nor superior. What are the forms that they use? Disabled people use memoirs, graphic novels again, life writing or autobiography. They embody lived experience of disability. Okay, they use the body. They show the lived experience. It is not abstraction that they talk about. It is the lived experience, the embodiment. That is what they talk about. Okay, tell me this. Which of the following is not the right approach to reading narratives by a writer with disability? Are you following what I'm saying? Which of the following is not the right approach to reading narratives by a writer with disability? Critique the work itself, applying the same standards you would to any other writer's work. Or explain how the writer's disability affects their work. Which of these is wrong? Which of these is not the right approach? Indeed, it is B. B is not right. Explain how the writer's disability affects their work. That is wrong. You should not talk about disability. You should only talk about the work itself. Right, guys? Okay. Major disability narratives. All of you might know a lot of disability narratives, isn't it? All of us know Helen Keller, I'm sure. She lived during the Second World War, and she wrote about being shut in a room, and she is not Second World War. Before that, I'm talking about Anne Frank. Helen Keller is different. Helen Keller is the woman who could not see or hear or speak. Right? There is the famous story of how she learned to read and write. Without any of these three senses, she learned a lot of things. Helen Keller wrote The Story of My Life. It is a foundational autobiographical disability narrative, The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. John M. Hull. Have you heard of John M. Hull? This is the problem. There are many writers, but we have not even heard about them because they are not considered very important. We don't consider them equal to us or important. Isn't it? That is wrong. We should not be like that. Touching the Rock is a memoir of blindness and spirituality. Touching the Rock. Jean-Dominique Bauby, B-A-U-B-Y. Jean-Dominique B-A-U-B-Y. What did Jean-Dominique Bauby write? The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. And he wrote it with one eye after locked-in syndrome. Lucy Greeley, these are all internationally famous. Autobiography of a Face, living with facial disfigurement. Maysoon Zaid wrote Find Another Dream. Find Another Dream. Did you know Farooq Dhondi wrote Trying to Grow, Indian. He wrote it about brittle bones disease. Brittle bones disease. There are so many more disability narratives. Malini Chib is an Indian writer. She wrote One Little Finger. Did you know Malini Chib suffered from cerebral palsy? But she's also an activist, and she is the voice of political access in India. So Malini Chib wrote only with one finger. She did not have anything else to write. Like this she wrote. V. Raghunathan. But however she wrote it, she wrote a brilliant discourse. Her book is a brilliant discourse of disability and identity, of marginality, of how mainstream society marginalizes many characters and people. Okay, V. Raghunathan edited a book, Walking the Talk, the story of Selvi, a visually impaired activist. Selvi is a visually impaired activist. Her story, V. Raghunathan wrote, Walking the Talk. Then there is Shrikant Reddy. He edited Autobiographies of Disability in India. Autobiographies of Disability in India. That is by Shrikant Reddy. Do you know Munshi Premchand has written a famous novel or story about a blind man, a blind beggar. Do you know which is that story? It is Rangabhumi. Rangabhumi. We all know that disability was treated like something to be made fun of. But now the attitude has changed, right? There are attempts by disability writers to deconstruct ableist ideologies. What is ableism? What makes you normal and able? This they question. They deconstruct ableist ideologies and represent disabled subjectivity on its own terms. Take a disabled character by himself or herself. Do not try to represent dominant ideologies through them. Let them be. That is the politics of disability narrative. They are resistance narratives. They question Western biomedical dominance by foreshadowing local cultural metaphors of disability. Local cultural metaphors of disability. What are the metaphors of disability? Disabled people are weak. They can't be professional. They are having inferiority complex. Disabled people need to be helped. Contemporary writers are all against it. Disability narratives are political acts of resistance, reclaiming representation and demanding accessibility. Our universities, colleges, and workspaces all wheelchair friendly? Have we made our educational courses, our classrooms inclusive? I have always been aware of this. Somewhere down the line, I was always aware of this. And when I teach, I try to say things clearly. I repeat everything. I show illustrations, either in the form of stories or pictures, etc. Because somewhere, somebody who is not able to understand because of some disability might be able to understand if only I repeat it, if only I speak very clearly, isn't it? So we should be inclusive as teachers. Disability narratives are not only there for us to teach, we should bring into our lives this inclusivity. Tell me, dear friends, do you know who developed CRIP theory that examines the intersection of disability, queerness, and the societal construction of normal bodies and lives? Do you know who developed CRIP?
Ma'am, answer would be B. B.
Yes, answer is B, Robert McCrewer. Leonard J. Davis was another very important figure, as you know, but CRIP theory is developed by Robert McCrewer. It is based on the concept of compulsory able-bodiedness. He developed compulsory able-bodiedness based on Adrian Rich's concept of compulsory heterosexuality. Compulsory heterosexuality. Now, let me ask you extempore some other questions. Disability theory focuses more on the individual, not the community. True or false? Disability narratives. Disability narratives are all lived experiences of people. Disability narratives focus on individuals, not on communities very much. Okay, the focus is on the individual. Okay, disability narratives should not be read along the same lines as ordinary people's narratives. Ordinary in the sense non-disabled people's narratives. True or false? Disability narratives should not be read along the same lines as the narratives of non-disabled people. Absolutely. That, yes, correct. That is also correct. Disability narratives expose social barriers and lack of inclusivity. True or false?
Might true.
True. In varying degrees, it is true. In varying degrees, it is true. Okay. Disability narratives deal with not only literature, but also oral narratives and other cultural, everyday cultural practices. True or false?
True, ma'am.
True. Very true. Absolutely. Thank you. Very good. Disability narratives might involve a quest. True or false? True. Because disability narratives involve a quest for identity and acceptance, or, acceptance as equal. Disability narratives might include narratives of old age. True or false? That
False,
is
ma'am.
also true. Yes. What in disability discourse, what is ID? Intellectual disability. Where do you apply the term spectrum in disability studies? Where do you apply the term spectrum? Autism spectrum. Autism is not one thing, it is a many different kinds of mindsets. Autism is not one thing. Autism spectrum, we say. Don't you know that? Right. Disability narratives often have a political edge. True or false? Yes, because it is about power and powerlessness. Okay. Let me ask you a few situations. Disabled people are such an inspiration for us. When we say that, is it correct or wrong?
Correct, ma'am.
No. Disability study says that to say that they are inspiring is to insult them. We should not say that. Just because they are disabled, we shouldn't say they are inspiring. According to disability studies, it is called inspiration porn. Turning disabled people into objects of inspiration is wrong. Treat them like anybody else. That is the meaning. Feeling pity for disabled people, is it right or wrong? Wrong. We should not feel pity. We should feel about writers. I mean, pity is as if you are above and they are below. That is the problem. Looking at disabled people as characters in literature, representing them as villains or monsters, is it right or wrong?
Wrong, ma'am.
Wrong. They are ordinary people. They are not monsters or anything. Okay. I am going to tell you some phrases. Tell me whether they should be there in disability narratives. Okay. If it is acceptable, tell me. Lived experience, true or false?
True, ma'am.
Lived experience. Yes. It is there in disability narratives. Okay. Complex characters.
True, ma'am.
True. All disability narratives always will have complex characters. Correct. Intersectionality. True. Intersectionality is also there. Yeah. The many ways in which our identity is formed. Sympathy.
False, ma'am.
False. Very good. That is false. Very good. Let me move on to the next conclusion. Dekho. Graphic and disability narratives demonstrate how literature continually reinvents itself through hybrid forms that demand new literacies. Read the first sentence carefully. Tell me if it is true or false. Graphic and disability narratives demonstrate how literature continually reinvents through hybridity. True or false?
True, ma'am.
True, true, true. Very good, very good. Correct. Second sentence. By blending image and text, body and voice, these narratives allow us to confront histories of trauma, identity, exclusion with fresh critical tools. True or false?
True.
Very good. True. Very good. That is true. Now, they destabilize the divide. Disability narratives destabilize the divide. Destabilize means they problematize. They question the divide between high and popular art. In the Indian context, they draw deeply from indigenous traditions. True or false? In the Indian context, they deeply draw from indigenous traditions while engaging questions of caste, gender ecology, and disability. True or false?
True.
True. Very good. That is also true. So all are true. Did you understand? All are true. Okay, now I'm going to ask you some other questions. Okay. Do you remember Koshish, the 1972 movie? Is it about disability? That they asked already. That is why I'm asking. Koshish. That they already asked. 1972. It is about disability. Okay? Okay. Is there disability in Haider, Sholay? Yes. Amputation is there. Cutting legs and arms, etc. Isn't it? Don't you remember? Is there disability in Guzarish? (2010). Who is the protagonist? Who played the major role in Guzarish? Do you remember 2010? Is it Hrithik Roshan?
Hrithik Roshan.
Yes, I remember. It is Hrithik Roshan. So that is also disability movie. So if you Google, if you don't know for yourself, if you Google Bollywood movies with disability, you will see. You should look it up because sometimes one question will be there like that. Many times they have asked about disability movies. Okay. Okay. Sitare Zameen Par, is it about disability?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Did you watch it?
Yes, ma'am.
If you, those who watched it, show me your hand like this. Otherwise, I can't see. Wow, so many. Everyone, I guess. Wonderful. What about Margarita with a Straw? Did you read that? Did you watch that movie? Margarita with a Straw is based on one
Yes,
little
ma'am.
finger. Who wrote
Yes,
one little
ma'am.
finger? Malini Chib. Do you remember? Who is the main character? Who plays the main role in Margarita with a Straw? I love her.
Kalki Kochlin.
Kalki Kochlin. Correct. That is wonderful. Very good. मैं ऐसा ही हूँ. Is there a movie like that? Have you watched it? मैं ऐसा ही हूँ. Have you watched it? That is also a disability movie. I have not watched it. You should watch these movies, okay? Disability, novels, movies, everything we should know. So did you enjoy this discussion? Did you enjoy this discussion? Those who enjoyed, please show me your hands. Oh, thank you. I am happy. Far away in the northern corner of India, you are sitting and showing your hands. And here in the south, I'm feeling very happy. Isn't it beautiful? Right. So yesterday, our YouTube live, many of my students also watched. And they were asking me today also give YouTube link. I said, okay, I will give. You should all study well. You should get very high marks. Do your best test. Because you have spent your valuable time, youth in studying English literature. Perfect your pronunciation. Do really well. Read original texts. Okay? Wish you all the very best. And I thank Dr. Dilip Barad and all of you, everybody of MKBU for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for this insightful and comprehensive lecture where you also interacted with us and we also interacted with you. So it was a great session and we really enjoyed it, and how thoroughly you explained the graphic narratives from the current socio-political cultural concepts as well. And also you mentioned about certain theories and important writers, and also the critical analysis of disability studies regarding from the political perspective as well, and also the global dimension regarding the disability studies. and also you gave us quiz type questions, whether they are correct or not, so that I can say that that was much needed from our side to respond, so that we actually understood and we really enjoyed the session. And we are hoping that in the near future as well, we get to have a few more lectures from you from regarding new topics. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I would like to invite Bhumi for her feedback.
First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for your precious time. And the lecture was well structured and engaging. That we know that when we're getting bored, ma'am suddenly ask the questions, and inspiring too, ma'am. And yes, which is really boosted to confidence us to approach the exam with a very right mindset. And the way she's speaking and the way she explains is very attractive. We watched so many videos from the YouTube, and we also connected the Telegram link for the quiz and everything. So it is very helpful for us, and we gained so many information from this session. So once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your dedication and guidance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am very happy.
Thank you so much, Bhumi. Now I would like to invite Shastri Chaudhary for her feedback.
Is it for me? Shall I remain?
Yes, ma'am. So, hello, good evening, everyone. So, ma'am, your both sessions are very informative and insightful and also engaging. And your yesterday's lecture, English literature in India, it is very insightful and engaging. And you teach that in a very simple way, which is difficult for us to understand for first time. And then today's session on disability narratives and graphic novels made complex ideas very easy to grasp and show how stories and visuals can represent disability meaningful. And both sessions are improved our understanding and made us to think critically about all these topics. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, that you took off your precious time for guiding us, and your lecture provided us a roadmap towards our further net set examinations, where how we can improvise as well as how we can still critically examine certain theories, texts. So this was a very much insightful and valuable session we had from you. Thank you so much, ma'am, and looking forward for many much more lectures from you. Thank you.
Always, always. Thank you. All best wishes, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Ma'am, now we are concluding our lecture.